One of my favorite parts of credit cards and travel is elite status. Today, we'll look at my strategy for 2026, looking at both hotels and airlines. In some special situations where having the card to get the benefit might make more sense. Big favor before we dive in is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Starting with Hilton, I'm going to have diamond status. Across the board for hotel status, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. For better or worse, you can get pretty strong status by getting cards. I know a lot of business travelers hate cards for this reason, since they're actually doing the stays. For example, for Hilton, instead of just getting a card, they're actually doing 50 nights a year. Even though I do travel, I'd rather allocate my nights elsewhere. The Hilton flagship card has a $550 annual fee, but you get diamond status and also a free night reward every year upon card renewal. You also get a bunch of credits, so up to 400 for Hilton resorts and up to 200 for flight credits. The credits basically get you to break even, and the free night certificate, as well as the elite status, is the cherry on top. Also, that free night reward is pretty powerful, and you can pretty much use it anywhere where there's a standard room available that's under the Hilton brand. For example, the Waldorf Astoria in Osaka. Standard nights are wide open and otherwise would cost you $120K or $190K per night. Looking at the retail price, this is Cherry Blossom Festival when the prices skyrocket. This could easily run you $1,000 to $1,200 per night. Consider that a Holiday Inn, which is a significantly more economic hotel, would run you close to $300 for those dates. If you travel and you're strategic, then these free night rewards can be pretty powerful. Some hotels are tougher and almost feel like sneaker drops. One hotel on our list is Tokyo Station, which is part of SLH. Using January as an example, right now only the 19th and 27th are available for standard rooms. A week ago though, 5, 6, 8, 12, 18, 19, and 22 were available. I track a lot of stuff anyways, so it doesn't feel like that much work. Domestically, Hilton status kinda sucks. Your best bets being croissants and maybe bacon or sausage. Abroad though, it tends to be a lot better with lounge access and breakfast, with breakfast having actually good food. So croissants that aren't from Cisco but actually made in-house and taste good. Also fresh egg stations and just other local items that feel way more authentic. Overall, I'm a happy camper with diamond benefits and it's worked great. If you do want these benefits but you don't want to add a card, there is a status match right now. So it's a match and then a challenge element, and you can either get gold status or diamond through March 31st, 2028. I'll link it down below and I've already sent it to email subscribers since email is easier than making a video. AskSebby.com/newsletter if you're interested, and I try to send deals and news when relevant. Next up, I have IHG Platinum Elite status, and it's pretty similar here. So I'm getting this with a card, there is an annual fee, but I'm breaking even, if not getting value. Main reason is that anniversary night. There is a level above Platinum Elite called Diamond Elite, but that requires $40K in spend on their card or 70 nights per year stays. The reason I haven't chased this though is that I feel like IHG status is comparably weak. With Platinum Elite status, you're looking at a welcome amenity of a drink or a snack. Only with Diamond you get breakfast, and oftentimes not the craziest. Abroad, it gets kind of interesting and I don't really exactly know what's going on. Last time we stayed at Regent Taipei, we got free breakfast, even though we were only Platinum Elite. I think we did end up using a free night for that, so maybe that was part of it, but it works pretty well. Great breakfast, solid room, and no complaints really. Speaking of which, the anniversary night is a bit tougher to use in the US and a lot more valuable abroad. Even though this isn't the craziest status to have, it's a nice to have one given how easy it is to get. It pretty much makes the few stays we do a lot better. If you do stay at Intercontinentals, so their top level brand, I'd consider signing up for Ambassador. I have talked about this pretty thoroughly on the AskSebby business channel, but speed running through it, it is a paid program, you get a bunch of benefits, and it makes a lot of sense if you are visiting mainland China, and you also get a buy one get one weekend night certificate. Note that this does have to be paid and only Intercontinentals. I've gone this once or twice over the past few years, and I get it when it makes sense, but otherwise, I don't leave it on. For Marriott Bonvoy, I have Platinum Elite status. I am getting this both from their card, and technically also earning it. So the flagship card, you get Platinum Elite status, that's normally 50 nights. I am also hitting 50 nights, but not back on bed nights, mostly from their cards and then some stays. So the flagship card, you get 25 Elite Night credits, and then with any of the Bonvoy business cards, you get 15 Elite Night credits, totaling 40. We typically float around 10 to maybe 15 Bonvoy nights per year. I guess I could hit 25 nights to hit Titanium, but the marginal value seems pretty minimal. So the late checkout is the same with both Platinum Elite and Titanium Elite. Welcome gift is the same, so they both include breakfast, which is the main thing for me, and both have eligibility for suite upgrades, which is what matters. Same thing for lounge access, Platinum already unlocks that door. I guess for upgrades, you are higher up on the list if you have titanium, but oftentimes in my experience, it hasn't mattered. If you're at a very busy hotel, then you pretty much need an ambassador, otherwise Platinum tends to be fine. The one big difference though is United Premier Silver status that you get with titanium, but not Platinum Elite. So it might be worth chasing for some people if you do value that status and if you don't otherwise earn it, or if you don't want to get those cards. Back to Marriott, one thing I will mention though is that upgrades tend to be hard even abroad. The main reason being that there are still consultants abroad, and the default tends to be Marriott given the large footprint. That can also happen of Hilton, but I find that oftentimes I'm fighting other US people and other credit card people. Last up of the big programs is World of Hyatt, where I have Globalist. This one is probably the least relevant for the majority of people, so I'll speed run through it. Normally this requires 60 nights, and I'm hitting this with stays and also work spend. A big part of it is that Hyatt points are super valuable, meaning that I default to redeeming them when I travel, especially to more expensive places and to cities. I do use other programs when it makes sense, but Hyatt tends to be pretty solid value. For work travel, if I'm going down to LA, then same thing, my default is to pick a cheap Hyatt. If you do end up getting their cards, you only get Discover status. With those cards though, you can earn Elite Night credits by spending on them. Note that these are just nights towards status, not redeemable ones. Yeah, could make a lot of sense if you buy inventory or you have a lot of business spend that doesn't otherwise have a good category. Personally, I really like the status, and I think it's the best one out there. With Globalist, you get upgrades including standard suites, 4 p.m. late checkout, and also club access or breakfast. Also, just less people have it, meaning the upgrades are more plentiful. The downside though is footprint, so a lot harder to earn status, and it might not make sense for some cities. For example, even for big cities, there might be 13 Marriotts, 7 Hiltons, but only 3 Hyatts. One thing I've been leaning more into in the last year is VIP portals, and I'm expecting that to continue. Part of it being that there's a lot of cards of credits, and they've been making those bigger, and the other part being that there's other cities that just don't care if you have elite status. Vegas is a prime example of this, where even if you have, let's say, Hilton Diamond, they don't really care. For example, the Waldorf Astoria in Las Vegas doesn't really like to upgrade people or give them late checkout, even if it otherwise makes sense, given the demand. They're very aggressive about upselling you when you're checking in to go to a premium room. You can check your phone, there could be a bunch of junior suites available, and they'll tell you, oh, there's only one left, and we can sell it to you for $300 a night. My experience matches DealHound, and it's just a weird vibe across the board. They also tend to be very unwilling to give late checkout, or will try to sell it to you as a privilege, even if inventory is wide open for the next day, so if there's not that many people checking out and there's a lot of availability. For those situations, I found VIP portals to be the best bet. The main reason being that a lot of them have guaranteed benefits. So for example, guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. For room upgrades, they're supposed to give you a 1-level upgrade if available. You also get additional credits to use on property that you might not otherwise get. The booking might be $25 or $50 more, but generally worth it if you care about the perks. On a side note, if you want to learn about cards that have access to these portals and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website AskSebby.com and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. For hotels that aren't on bank platforms, and even ones that are, I'd recommend checking Cardonomics to compare the prices. For example, one of our favorite options in Salt Lake is Asher Adams, which is not on the other platforms, and it's a great vibe, and also NBA players stay there. Cardonomics lets you book through the Marriott Luminous rate, which includes breakfast. Also other benefits like welcome amenity, GM note, and room upgrades. Last time we were there, we got breakfast credits from Luminous and also from our Platinum Elite status, and they were able to turn one of those credits into a general dining one, which was nice. Yeah, Luminous is the VIP travel advisor rates that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. Same thing with other brands like Intercontinental. For them, they have the IHG Destin program, which includes breakfast and a $100 credit. These usually count as direct bookings as well, so you get your benefits that you otherwise would get, and it counts towards nights for your stays. Yeah, good way to double dip if you have status. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. It is password protected, and it should be down below as well. If the password isn't there, then that means we hit our max capacity for the month. Heading over to airlines and starting with Delta, I'm dropping from Diamond status down to Silver Medallion for the year. It's my favorite US airline to fly, but work stuff makes it not possible. I am still Diamond until end of January though, and I'm going to make the most of it with a New York trip. Yeah, once February rolls around, I'm down to Silver. Silver though isn't as bad as you might think though, because we have been on a fair share of flights from SFO to New York where the business class isn't full. That pretty much means that they went down the list of everyone that had status, and even if you had silver, you would have been upgraded to business. It does depend on aircraft and the number of Delta One seats, but not impossible at all, and it might happen more than you think. To be fair, I wouldn't say it's common, but I've seen it more than I'd expect. Otherwise, I have the flagship personal and business cards, and I was going to cancel those a few years back, but once they added those credits, it actually made the math work. So before I was paying $550 for a once use buy one get one flight pass. Now I'm paying $650, so $100 more for the same benefit, but also up to $240 for dining, up to $200 for Delta stays, which is just Expedia, and up to $120 for Uber. I know a lot of people hate credits, but it turned a 1-year tester card for the intro bonus to something that was at least break even and worth keeping. I am still debating dumping it to add on another Hilton flagship card, but I think the Delta cards kind of make sense because it gets me to silver and then potentially gold if needed. We do go to New York a decent amount, so good to have that status in the back pocket. For JetBlue and Southwest, we don't have status. We have done status challenges and matches and stuff in the past when it's made sense, but otherwise we don't fly them enough. Same thing with their cards, we've gotten them for intro bonuses, but otherwise end up downgrading or canceling. For Southwest, it's pretty much just LA or maybe Vegas. For New York, maybe New York or Boston, but not usually on the top of our list. American's an interesting one. So I get their cards when I can because it's pretty lucrative and you can downgrade them to other city cards, which is nice. Outside of that though, I don't think we fly them enough to keep it in my roster long term. So checked bags and stuff are nice, but you have to fly them. Ironically, I do like their program and it's one that I've considered going after because it's so lucrative with Oneworld, but it's just hard to main it out of SFO when they have a 7%, less than 7% market share. Also because they don't really fly to the places that I actually go. Happy to status match and stuff when it makes sense, but otherwise hard to main it. Alaska's a bit of a weird one. So Mandy has Alaska status, mostly because she flies Alaska for her work stuff. But otherwise, we both have their cards and we like them, pretty useful on the West Coast. Last stop is United, and for this year, I'm going to be Premier 1K. So I don't really like flying United, it's fine by all means, but I feel like a captive audience. The main reason for this is that SFO is almost 50% United in terms of market share, so it's everyone's default, especially people that fly a lot for work. It also means that a lot of super users aren't flying United. For example, if you're an Apple engineer and they're sending you to Shanghai every 2 weeks, then it's going to be through United. Despite the market share only being about 50%, it is one of their fortress hubs and a pretty powerful one at that. The main issue is that even if you're on the top of the list and you're at 1K, it might not matter. A lot of people would argue that SFO is global services or bust, so they're invite-only level. Not expecting much in terms of upgrades because of this. I am excited to use plus points this year while the program still stays the same and still stays useful for ANA to Japan and also Lufthansa to Europe. I do need to read up a bit more on the Lufthansa ends, but always fun to learn. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a croissant emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what hotel and airline statuses are you running with this year? Number 2, what's your favorite hotel chain? And number 3, what airlines do you fly? And also, which would you rather fly? I probably would like United a lot more if I wasn't in a fortress hub. But yeah, just tough to have Platinum or 1K status and be 15th on the upgrade list. Big favorite, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.